You know that feeling, right? When you're so deep into a movie that the world around you just disappears. You're completely in it. The characters feel real, their problems feel like your problems. It's this incredible kind of magic, a spell that a great storyteller weaves. But what exactly is that spell? And maybe more interesting, what happens when someone decides to break it on purpose? Let's get into it.
The famous film critic Andre Bazin, well, he absolutely nailed it with this quote. The cinema gives us a world in accordance with our desires. This gets right to the heart of that magic, doesn't it? The way a movie can build this seamless, totally believable world that we just step right into. And that idea, creating a perfect illusion, that's our first big concept.
So, this spell of a story, what are we really talking about here? This ability for art to just pull us into its orbit, it isn't just a feeling we get. It actually has a name in art theory. And for centuries, it's been the main way we tell stories. You could call it the art of pure enchantment.
And that name is illusionism. The whole goal here is to make you forget you're watching a movie or reading a book or whatever. It's all about hiding the strings, you know? Hiding the fact that it was all built just so you can get lost in this perfect, unbroken reality. Think about it like an ancient ritual where someone wears a lion mask. Now everybody there knows it's a mask, but they still let themselves get scared. We do the exact same thing. We love being terrified by a horror movie, even though we know deep down it's all fake.
So yeah, that powerful spell of illusionism is pretty much the default setting for most stories. But what happens when the artist decides to flip the script? What happens when they decide to pull back the curtain and actually show you all the gears and levers that make the whole thing work?
Well, that brings us to the flip side of the coin, the art of, let's call it, disenchantment. We often call it breaking the fourth wall, but its more formal name is, well, it's a bit more reflexive.
Okay, so this slide lays it out perfectly. On one side, we've got illusionism. Its whole goal is enchantment. It uses a smooth, seamless flow, and it tries to hide the fact that it's made up. But on the other side, we have reflexivity. Its goal is the exact opposite, rupture. It creates little breaks and jumps to purposefully show you that it's all constructed. It points right at its own mask and says, hey, look, I'm a story. These are actors on a set, and you're the audience.
And believe it or not, this is not some new radical idea. Not at all. We can go all the way back to Shakespeare. In the opening of Henry V, a character comes out and basically says, hey, look, this is just a stage. It's not perfect. We need you, the audience, to use your imagination to fill in the gaps. He's flat-out admitting, this is a play, people, and we need your help to make this illusion work.
So let's jump forward a few hundred years and see how this idea plays out in the one place that pretty much perfected the art of illusion, Hollywood. I mean, some of the easiest examples of reflexivity to spot are when the movie business decides to turn the camera around and take a long, hard look at itself.
Yeah, one of the most direct ways for a film to be reflexive is for it to literally be about making films. By showing you the cameras, the writers' rooms, the sound stages, the movie is constantly reminding you of the very process that's creating the thing you're watching in that moment.
And inside these Hollywood on Hollywood movies, you start to see these common themes pop up again and again. They love to explore how fame is basically manufactured, they mess with our tendency to mix up actors with their characters, and sometimes they'll even show us the actual literal tricks of the trade.
This line perfectly captures that star in crisis idea. It's from Sunset Boulevard, and the character Norma Desmond, who's a forgotten star from the silent film era, says this. The whole film uses her story to critique how cruel Hollywood can be, how it just tosses stars aside when technology moves on. It really exposes the brutal machine hiding behind all the glitz and glamour.
Or how about this amazing moment from Buster Keaton's silent masterpiece, Sherlock Jr.? Our hero is a movie projectionist who daydreams himself right into the film he's playing. I mean, he literally jumps through the movie screen. It's just this playful, mind-bending sequence that completely demolishes the line between the audience and the art.
All right, so now we know what reflexivity is, and we've seen a few ways it's done. But that leaves us with the biggest question of them all. Why? I mean, why would an artist work so hard to create a spell, only to then turn around and deliberately break it?
Well, it turns out there are a couple of really powerful reasons. The first one is all about being joyful and chaotic, kind of turning the world upside down just for the fun of it. The other one, though, is much more serious. It's critical, and it can even be deeply political.
So that first motivation is something a critic named Mikhail Bakhtin called the Carnivalesque. Just think about the energy of a massive carnival or a festival.
For a little while, all the normal rules are out the window. Kings get treated like peasants, serious things are made fun of, and laughter is used to knock authority figures off their high horse and bring them down to our level.
The tools in this toolkit are things you probably recognize: parody, a bit of vulgarity, and a real joy in mocking things that are supposed to be sacred. Think of the wild, chaotic energy of the Marx Brothers, or a sharp satire like Blazing Saddles. It's all about using laughter as a kind of weapon to happily break all the rules.
Now, the second big reason comes from thinkers like the playwright Bertolt Brecht. See, Brecht did not want his audience to get lost in the story. He wanted them to keep their distance, to stay critical. So he came up with all these techniques to constantly remind you, hey, you are watching a play. This is a construction. Also, you would think about the big social and political ideas he was presenting.
For Brecht, the point wasn't just to make you feel something, it was to make you think. It's a total game changer. It transforms you from someone who's just passively watching into an active participant in the whole thing. He forces you to ask questions like, why is the story being told this way? Who benefits from this? What is this filmmaker trying to get me to believe?
Now, you might be thinking, okay, but doesn't seeing all the seams and knowing how the trick is done kind of ruin the experience? And honestly, not at all. Think about it. Knowing how a magician pulls off an incredible trick doesn't really destroy the magic, right? In a lot of ways, it just makes you appreciate the skill and the artistry behind it even more.
So, the next time you're watching something and a character suddenly looks right at you, or the movie's about making a movie, you'll know what's going on. You're being invited to peek behind the curtain. And the real question is, does that make the magic vanish? Or does it actually empower you? Does it make you a smarter, more engaged viewer? And in doing that, does it maybe create a whole new kind of magic?